Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and the Indy 250 week for 2019 has officially begun. We are here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Indy 250 practice. This the only practice session before tomorrow's qualification day number 1. And for the first time ever tomorrow, we will have single car qualifying. Today's practice session will determine the qualifying order for tomorrow. The slowest driver in this session will qualify first, and then the fastest driver will head out on the racetrack last tomorrow in Indy 250 single car qualifications. Then after tomorrow, on Sunday, the fastest 9 qualifiers from tomorrow will battle it out for the pole. They will all do another single car run, and then the slowest 9 from tomorrow will also battle it out on Sunday, and the slowest 2 of those 9 cars from Sunday's last 9 shootout will fail to qualify for the Indianapolis 250. We have 35 entries for this year's event, but only 33 of them will be in the event next Saturday morning at noon Eastern Time. So, definitely a nervous time for everybody because nobody is locked into the show, not even our points leader, Justin Zeidel, in the number 10, who comes into this race, the points leader ahead of Richard Kinghart. Richard Kinghart won the last race here in the Haas IndyCar series at Kansas last week. So he's off to a pretty good start for Indy 250 week, coming off of that race victory. But what we're going to do, we're going to go through all 35 entries for the Indianapolis 250, tell them how many Indy 250s they've been in up to this point, and should be pretty fun discussing the entries for this year's Indy 250, seeing who could make it into the show and could be the winner of the biggest race on Napa Fan. Christian Russell, first guy out here in the number 4, going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. He's teammates to Jordan Lopez, who has been in a few of these, but Christian Russell, one of those newer guys who's yet to win a race on Napa Fan, and really don't know what to expect out of him in this race, but we'll have to see what he can do in the number 4. And I will say, when we're discussing all these drivers, we're going to assume that they're going to qualify in. So we have the number of Indy 250s they're going to be in if they qualify for the event tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and give an example with someone who has been in this race before, and that's Tyler Reddy. This will be his second Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies. He was in this race last year in 2018. Haven't really talked about him too much this season in the Haas IndyCar Series, but he is one of the few guys who is experienced in this event. As a matter of fact, only 13 of the entries have been in the Indianapolis 250 in prior years. 22 of them are making their first ever attempt in the Indianapolis 250, so going to be interesting to see what those first-timers do. Landon Lyons is one of those first-timers, but he was in the Freedom 50 last year, so watch out for him to have some experience under his belt in qualifying tomorrow. He knows his way around this place in an IndyCar. As a matter of fact, I believe he won his first-ever Indy Lights start last year, so we'll have to see what he does driving number 60. He's been doing pretty good in qualifying in certain places, so we'll have to see what Landon Lyons can do in the biggest race of the year. Jaden Scott is another guy I really haven't talked about too much this season. And on Napa Fan in general, I believe he has one career Napa Fan win. I believe it came in the ARCA series. But other than that, he really hasn't done much on this channel. This is going to be the biggest start of his career. Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies. And driving there for Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing. Going to be a teammate to Tyler Reddy for this race. And also teammate to a defending Indy 250 champion. We'll get to that in a moment. But Jaden Scott has some good veterans under his belt. That might help him qualify his way in to the Indy 250. Nathan Faden's been doing really good in the points so far this season, but this will be his first ever Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies. He drives for Ed Carpenter Racing, my favorite team in IndyCar, by the way, because everyone says I sound like Ed Carpenter, so I like Ed Carpenter a lot. But either way, Nathan Faden's been doing pretty good this season. Has yet to get a win this season, but it might just be in his first ever Indianapolis 250. We'll have to see as he drives the number 21. First of our Indy 250 only entrants. It's the number 24 of Andrew Ross, who been doing really good on the stock car side of things here in Napa Fan. He won the Chick-fil-A Cup Series race at Texas at the end of March, and he almost won the Turkey Hill Truck Series Championship last fall, so He's a really good driver on the stock car. It's going to be his first run in an IndyCar. But watch out for Andrew Ross. He might be one of the guys who could surprise us come race day. And Colton Yo in the number 88 machine. You know he's good. It'll be his second Indianapolis 250. He was in this thing last year and continues to drive the 88 for Harding Racing. But we'll have to see what he can do as this week goes along. Really don't know what to expect out of Colton. He has been kind of quiet this season, but I'd expect him to move his way on as he is a veteran. Jordan Lopez in the number 14. This is going to be his third Indianapolis 250. He has been racing in this thing since 2017. As a matter of fact, he's been full-time in the number 14 since the 2017 season. So 3 straight seasons he's actually been driving for A.J. Foyt. So I actually just found that out with Jordan Lopez as well. So he is definitely a veteran of this series. And he is going to have an upper hand on some of these guys with his experience in this race. Micah Knapp, he is driving the car that won this race last year. The number 5 was driven by Nicholas Samedeo last year. Nicholas Samedeo is driving the 25 this season. We will eventually get to him. But Micah Knapp, I've known him a long time. His first time in this race as Micah Knapp. And I'm pretty sure Diego Stevenson had made a start in this before, so not his first start technically, but this is Micah Knapp's first career start in the Indianapolis 250, and I know he's definitely looking forward to this event, especially considering he's driving the car that won this thing last year. So that Schmidt-Peterson machine, all those guys on that team, definitely highly optimistic for this weekend and this entire week in possibly getting the race victory, and Micah Knapp's a good driver to do it. We'll have to see if he can pull it off in the number 5 and follow in the footsteps of Nicholas Samedeo in that number 5 machine here at the Brickyard. Thomas Troxel, going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. And another thing you're going to watch too is these guys possibly wrecking in this qualifier, or should I say in this practice session. Not the first time I've done that. I want to call it a qualifying session. It's not. It's just a practice session, so nothing to lose here. If you wreck, you wreck, and that's okay. It's the fastest time that counts, and that's the only thing that counts. But Thomas Troxel, going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. Really don't know what to expect out of Troxel. He hasn't made too many starts on Napa Fan, but he's one of those guys who I'd expect to do pretty good here. Had a tough season so far in the Haas IndyCar Series, but I think this week is going to be a good one for him in that number 17. Right ahead of him, another Indy 250 only driver. And not only that, she is making her first career Napa Fan start if she qualifies for the race. Madison Tall in the number 63, development driver to Nathan Stapleton. And Madison Tall really jumping into it here on Napa Fan. Her first start going to be the Indianapolis 250 if she makes it. That's a pretty big deal. Of course, she's from Indiana. It's going to be a huge deal if she gets the race victory. And we'll have to see if she can qualify the number 63 into the show. But I'm looking forward to see what she can do in that number 63 machine. She could have a very good chance of winning this race. But of all the drivers qualifying for this race, she has the least amount of experience of anybody in this field. So I don't know if that's going to be on her side or not, but we'll have to see tomorrow as she qualifies. Cody Smart in the 98. He was in this race back in 2017 as an Indianapolis 250 only driver. And after his suspension last year, he's back in action, and this would be a huge redemption win for him if he were to get it. Cody Smart driven 98 this season, full-time in the Haas IndyCar Series, yet to get a win this season. However, he has experience, and he's, like I said, one of 13 guys who has been in this race before, so that might play into his favor come next Saturday. Here's Christopher Alphaby in the number 18. Alphaby won the MAV TV 100 at the Auto Club Speedway back in March. That was a 100-mile race at the Auto Club Speedway, and not a super speedway. And the racing there, pretty similar to what we're going to see next Saturday, so that might play into the favor of Christopher Alphaby. Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250 start, but he's definitely shown a lot of promise so far this season, as he has already gotten the race victory this season in the Haas IndyCar Series. So Christopher Alphaby might be a good driver to possibly win this race here at Indianapolis. Audra Baranowskis, this is going to be her third Indianapolis 250 if she qualifies. She was in this race in 2016 and 2017, and she won the Freedom 50 last year, so she's got a lot of experience under her belt for this race, and definitely going to be no surprise if she gets it done this year, because she's got the experience and she's won here before in the Freedom 50. So Audrey Baranowski's a veteran of the Indianapolis 250, development driver to William Brock. She knows her way around this place in IndyCar, and she's one of 2 female drivers attempting to qualify this race, her along with Madison Tall. Angel Olvera won at Lime Rock earlier this season, led every single lap in that one. We've got some Andretti guys working together here. Nick Smith, really don't know what he's going to do. I mean, it's going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. It's been a quiet season for him elsewhere in the IndyCar series. Really just don't know what we're going to see out of Nick Smith, but we'll have to see what he can do as this session goes along and as qualifying goes along. But it does help that these guys have a teammate named Nicholas Samadio, the defending winner of the Indianapolis 250. He won this race last year for Schmidt-Peterson, and this will be his 5th Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies. If I'm not mistaken, he's going to be the first driver to race in 5 Indianapolis 250s. He'll be the most experienced guy ever in this event, more than anyone, and he is the most experienced guy attempting this event, and he's won it before. You know, if I were to pick a winner for this race, I'd pick Nicholas Samadio. I think he's got the best shot at doing so. As an Indy 250 only driver, he's full-time in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series this year, which is why he isn't in the IndyCar Series this year, but you know Nicholas Samadio is going to be good in this race, because he's been in this thing more than anyone. He's been in this thing since 2015. As a matter of fact, he's the only driver attempting this field who raced in this thing in 2015. And that was actually the second Indy 200 we had in 2015, not the first one. As a matter of fact, nobody from the first edition of this race is attempting this one here this weekend. So, kind of interesting. The entire field is completely different from the first edition of the race when Max Newirth won the special event in May 2015. But Nicholas Samadio, going to be his 5th career Indy 250 start. This time as an Indy 250 only driver. As a matter of fact, 3 times he has attempted this race as a full-time driver, and this will be his 2nd time as an Indy 250 only driver. It was in 2015 he attempted this race as an Indy 250 only driver, so he knows how to get it done as an Indy 250 only driver as well. And when it comes to the Indy 250 only drivers, they definitely have a shot at winning this race too. Aaron Walpole, 2016. This is the only race he raced in the 2016 season, and he got the race victory. So those Indy 250 only drivers can win it just like everybody else, and that's the beauty of the equal ratings of these cars. You never know who's going to win it. Richard Kingart's on cloud 9 coming into this race. Won the last race in the Haas IndyCar Series at Kansas last week, and he's clawing in on Justin Seidel, and having followed the series, Justin Seidel pulled out to a 60-some point lead. Only about 5 races into the season, and that's more points than what you can gain in a single race. So Seidel have been doing really good, and Kinghart has been the guy who's been closing in on him. He's now only about 20 points behind him coming into the Indianapolis 250. So Richard Kinghart, after winning the race at Kansas, is going to have a good shot at possibly getting the race victory for the 3rd time this season. He won at Riverside as well, so Kinghart definitely a strong driver in this series. However, it will be his first ever Indianapolis 250, so we'll have to watch for this number 13 machine. But Kinghart's an experienced veteran on Napa Fan, so I wouldn't be surprised if he made it into the show very easily tomorrow in qualifications. Here's Al Lagasse in the number 20. It's going to be his 3rd Indianapolis 250. And this is definitely one race that Al Lagasse would love to get on his resume as a winner. And he's one of the few guys who has been in this thing 3 or more times, if you include this year. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. He, along with Jordan Lopez, Audrey Baranowskis, Marty Johnson, Davey Johnson, and Nicholas Samadio, and Luke Rainey. Almost forgot about Luke Rainey. They are the only guys who have been in this race 2 or more times prior to this year. So we got a lot of first-timers in this thing, but Al Lagasse is one of those guys who's not a first-timer, and he's won a couple of times in the IndyCar Series as well. Marty Johnson, going to be his 3rd Indianapolis 250 as well. 2016 and 2018 for him. He almost got the win at Kansas last week, but could not pull it off. Got passed by Richard Kinghart late in the going. But it was definitely a good momentum boost for Marty Johnson. His teammate Justin Seidel has been killing it in the points. But he's been kind of the second banana at Chip Ganassi Racing, but he wants to be the first banana next weekend in the Indianapolis 250, and he's got a great shot at doing so because they definitely showed some speed at Kansas. Another super speedway for those guys, and just watch out for Marty Johnson, experienced veteran. Won't be surprised if he came over with the victory next Saturday. Joe Rakowski going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. He's been doing pretty decent this season in the Haas IndyCar Series, I do believe. Really haven't seen much of him, but Rakowski does have a win in the Turkey Hill Series at Richmond. But other than that, don't really know what to expect out of Rakowski for this race. But he is driving car number 1. That car was driven by Luke Rainey last year. And Luke Rainey is a past Indianapolis 250 champion. So that might be a good omen for Joe Rakowski this season. Plus, Joe Rakowski and Luke Rainey are pretty good friends. So we'll have to see if that works out for him. Davey Johnson, and this is definitely an interesting story here. He won the first race of the season. But Davey Johnson and Nicholas Samedi are the only two guys who are attempting this race who have been in 3 or more Indy 250s prior to this season. This will be Davey Johnson's 4th Indianapolis 250, and he's been in this race ever since 2016. So that one Aaron Walpole won. Davey Johnson was competing then, and he's been full-time in the IndyCar Series since then. He is the most experienced full-time IndyCar Series driver. Great to have Davey Johnson still in this series, driving the number 66. And he's known for being kind of fast during Indy 250 week. And if you look on that leaderboard, he's right now 4th fastest. So watch out for Davey Johnson as this week goes along. He is going to be a threat. And he always is a threat in practice and in qualifying and everything. He's just known for being fast. And he actually won the IndyCar Grand Prix last year. Of course, we don't have that event this year because that track is just so bad. We decided to go ahead and have a Kansas race instead of that this year. But Davey Johnson knows his way around this place, but he hasn't won the big one yet. We'll have to see if he can do so. It'll be his 4th attempt at it this year. Jeremiah Earl is going to be his first ever run in the Indianapolis 250, a rookie driver coming into this season. We really don't know what to expect of him or this guy, Jose Mills. Both of these guys relatively new to Napa fans. As a matter of fact, both of these guys in their first full-time series this year in the Haas IndyCar Series, so really don't know what to expect out of them. That's all I can say, but like I said, everyone has an equal shot at winning this race, and I wouldn't be surprised if either of these guys got it next Saturday. Noah Clifton, going to be his 2nd ever Indianapolis 250, was in this thing in 2016. Been off a couple of years, but he has won him this series before at Road America, so he knows his way around IndyCar. Hasn't been the best of seasons for him in the Napa 27, but hey, last night the Napa truck won. And in pretty odd circumstances as well. If you saw the Throwback Series race yesterday, you know that Nathan Stapleton and Zachary Fitzwater were the only guys who took tires in that race, and they blew past the rest of the field and finished 1-2 with Nathan Stapleton getting the race victory in the number 62 Napa truck. So we are on Napa Fan. The Napa car traditionally was a bad luck car, but it might not be anymore. So we'll have to see if Noah Clifton can break that and get the win for good old Napa Fan. Do it for me, buddy. Do it for Napa. We'll have to see what Noah Clifton does as this week goes along. He does have experience, as he was in this race in 2016. Here is Jonathan King. Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. He won at Phoenix earlier this season in the Haas IndyCar Series. And Julio Cesar in the number 32, going to be his first ever Indy 250 start. But he is an experienced veteran Napa fan. He's gotten some starts elsewhere and some wins as well, so he should be able to make it in. But like I said, you just don't know. The ratings are equal for everybody, so qualifications tomorrow are definitely going to be interesting to see who makes it into the top 9 and the bottom 9. That's going to be the main focus tomorrow, is who's in top and bottom 9. But we'll focus a lot more on that tomorrow. Dan Park going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250 start, but he does have a Chick-fil-A Cup Series race victory. It came, I believe, at Kansas in season number 4, and we just came from Kansas in the Haas IndyCar Series, so there you go. Found a way to connect that. But Dan Park, first season in an IndyCar, great to have him back. It was a couple of years since he has raced on Napa Fan up to this point, but he is back, driving number 23 in the biggest race of the year on Napa Fan, and he could have a good shot at possibly getting the race victory. He is currently on the leaderboard. Let me see. 29th. However, he might be making single car runs. And remember, tomorrow it's single car qualifying. We're not doing group qualifying anymore for the Indianapolis 250. It is simply single car qualifications. So with that in mind, you might want to make some single car runs. You might be one of the first guys to qualify tomorrow, but if you get those single car runs in, you might have a better shot at making a good run tomorrow when it really counts. We went through all those guys right there. We might have gotten through the entire field, possibly. Dion Moon! Nope, we haven't quite yet. Won at Richmond earlier this season, in number 22. This car won the IndyCar Grand Prix in real life last week with Simon Pagenaud, so Maybe a good omen there for the rookie driver, Dion Moon. Other than his race win at Richmond, really don't know too much about Dion Moon. Hasn't been racing for too long, but definitely a huge event for him, and if he get the win, that would definitely be the highlight of his career. Keyshawn Richardson in the number 3 machine. Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250 start. If he qualifies, of course. Nobody's locked in. You got to remember that. But number 3 machine, Keyshawn Richardson, another guy I really don't know too much of. He has made a few more starts than Dion Moon, but don't know if it's going to be enough to really have an advantage on anybody. But either way, Richardson going to have a good shot at this race victory, just like everybody else, because of those equal ratings. Mentioned Christopher Alpheby, Nick Smith. I think we mentioned Nick Smith there, number 29 earlier on in the show. Andrew Ross is there. Ooh. We got a couple guys we haven't mentioned yet. Igor Barreto in the number 19 and Christian Vargas in the 6. Both of those guys, actually, sorry, Igor Barreto, this is going to be his second Indianapolis 250. He raced in this thing last year. Hasn't been the best of seasons for either of these guys. Really haven't seen much of them yet this season. But Christian Vargas is going to be his first ever Chick-fil-A, or should I say, Indianapolis 250 start. He was in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series last year, got a couple of wins. As a matter of fact, won the same day of last year's Indianapolis 250, but at Charlotte in the Coke 600. So, he's looking to become the first driver to win the Indianapolis 250 and the Coke 600 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And he might be able to do it this week. Ace Garcia, Indy 250 only driver here. Going to be a second ever start in the Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies, so watch out for him. He knows the way around this place, and he could have a good shot at the race victory. I think we went through all these guys here. And we did. Nicholas Amity at the end of the field there. And here is our points leader here in the Haas IndyCar Series. 5 top 5, 6 top 10s, and 7 races for Justin Zeidel coming into Indy 250 week. He's the points leader. And he wants to win this Indianapolis 250. Not only that, he's actually going to be attending the real-life Indianapolis 500. So he is just hyped for this thing. I know it. And he's not focused on the championship either. Even though he is the points leader, he's got Richard Carrick closing in behind him. He wants to win this race. And that is the main focus. That's why we went from double points to single points. This isn't about the championship. It's about the race. Everyone wants to win this Indianapolis 250. And especially Justin Zeidel. Because not only will he win the Indianapolis 250, but he'll also extend his points lead on the rest of the field if he gets it. And that's definitely going to be valuable as this championship rolls around. The past 2 winners of this race have won the Haas IndyCar Series Championship, Luke Rainey and Nicholas Amedeo. And both of those guys are going to be attempting this race as well. We've yet to run into Luke Rainey. I don't know where he is on the racetrack, but we're going to try to find him, because he's definitely a very important part of the Haas IndyCar Series. I think that's the number 4. That isn't him right there. That's him. There he is. Number 64. Luke Rainey in an Indy 250 only ride. First time he's done this. But the 2017 Haas IndyCar Series champion and the 2017 winner of this event. Great to have him back in the Haas IndyCar Series. It'll be his 3rd Indianapolis 250. As he was in this thing in 2017 and 2018. And he won the 2017 event here, which clinched him the championship for the 2017 Haas IndyCar Series season. Luke Rainey, along with Nicholas Amedeo, the only 2 drivers in this race who have won this race in prior years. So watch out for them to be threats in the big one on Saturday, May the 25th. I want to let you know when it is. I want to really drill it into your head, because I'm looking forward to it, and I want you guys to see it, because it's a big deal. And all these guys know it's going to be a big deal as well, especially Luke Rainey. He knows it's a big deal. He's won this thing before. Nicholas Amedeo, Aaron Walpole, Christian Master, Max North. Those are some high-tier guys who have been racing for a very long time. Luke Rainey, as a matter of fact, of all 5 of the Indianapolis 250 winners, is the least experienced. Now, Aaron Walpole is retired, but other than that, Luke Rainey is the least experienced of these guys. And when he won, he was pretty much a rookie. So he's basically the only guy who was pretty much just right there, and a new driver, I should say, when he won the event. The rest of the guys had a lot of experience when they won it. Christian Master, Max North, they had been racing on NAPFan prior before its existence. Aaron Walpole as well, and of course Nicholas Amedeo, past Daytona 500 champion from 4 years ago. But Luke Rainey, when he won this event, was pretty much a new driver to NAPFan, and it was a bit of a shock when he won it. But since then, he's definitely shown why he deserved to win that race, and we'll have to see if he can prove himself again in the 2019 Indy 250. It might be everybody, and I apologize if I missed somebody. We'll go through the field again and see if there's anybody we missed. Went through Justin Zidell, Angel Oliveira, Dan Park, Audra Baranowskis, Julio Caesar. There's Kinghart, O'Riddy, Landon Lyons. Going to be his first ever start in the Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies his way in. Like I mentioned, he was in the Freedom 50 last year. He's got the experience there. Micah Knapp in the 5 in the car that won this race last year. Jordan Lopez, his third straight Indy 250. Thomas Troxel, Dion Moon, Keyshawn Richardson, Davey Johnson. Getting some single car runs in right now. He's 5th fastest right now, but definitely good to get some single car runs, and he's got a clear racetrack ahead of him. Christian Russell, Madison Toll. I mentioned with Madison Toll, this is going to be her first career Napa fan start if she makes her way in. This is huge for Madison Toll. Going to be a huge, huge deal if she makes it into the show, and ironically enough, that car in real life did not advance last year, so a little added pressure there for Madison Toll, but I think she's going to get it. She's got Nathan Stapleton helping her. Stapleton won last night. You know he's good. And all those guys there at 63 team looking to get that lady into the show, and she definitely deserves it, I can tell you that much. Obviously, we've had some wrecks go on here throughout the practice session, but like I said, they do not matter to the qualifying order for tomorrow. Just the fastest time matters. So this is part of the reason why we're going to single car qualifying, because in these practice sessions, we tend to get quite a few wrecks. Of course, with practice sessions in NR 2003, the caution does not come out, so they just keep on going, which is why the wrecks can be kind of big sometimes. There's Luke Rainey, there's Ace Garcia, a couple of Indy 250 only drivers. The Indy 250 only drivers this year are Andrew Ross, Nicholas Amedeo, Ace Garcia, Madison Toll, and Luke Rainey. 2 of those guys have won this race before. Ace Garcia is a guy who has been in this race before. Andrew Ross and Madison Toll, rookies to the Indianapolis 250. And I have a feeling that all 5 of those guys are going to qualify for the race and 2 full-timers are going to fail. So it's going to be really, really interesting on Sunday when we get to the last 9 shootout. And remember, the slowest 2 in the last 9 shootout will fail to qualify for the Indianapolis 250. So Sunday is going to be the big day. That's the day we send 2 drivers home. We're looking forward to this event. Number 59 machine. That's the number 23 of Dan Park. Number 59 of Jose Mills is the fastest guy in town, which means he will be the first qualifier tomorrow, or should I say, the last qualifier tomorrow. The last 2 qualify tomorrow for our first day of qualifications. And currently the slowest guy is number 21 of Nathan Faden. That means that Nathan Faden will be the first guy to qualify tomorrow for Indy 250 qualifications. Going to be a good one. Looking forward to this entire week. Go ahead and give you guys some sounds here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with these Indy cars. I love these Indy cars going around this racetrack. Some of the best sounds we get from all of Napa fan. Time's going to run out there. 40 more seconds on the clock. 59 of Jose Mills, fastest guy in Indy 250 practice. Followed by the number 27 machine of Noah Clifton. The number 12 of Jeremiah Earls is third fastest. The number 9 of Marty Johnson, fourth fastest. Nathan Faden moved himself up to fifth. He is now the fifth fastest guy on the racetrack. Jaden Scott is sixth. Davey Johnson, the seventh fastest in practice. Ace Garcia, the eighth fastest. Andrew Ross in ninth. And Keyshawn Richardson rounding out the top 10 in the first and only practice session before qualifications for the Indianapolis 250 2019. Been a fun day here, watching these cars go around this 2.5 mile storied ground of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's the Brickyard. And we're just getting started for Indy 250 week leading up to the biggest event of the year on NAPAFan. 100 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I can't wait to see who gets it done next Saturday afternoon. Starting at noon Eastern Time, we're going to take the green flag here from the Brickyard. That's going to do it for practice. And this will be how they will line up for qualification order tomorrow, starting with the guy at the back. Edgar Barreto will be the first qualifier. He'll be out on the racetrack before anybody else, and the practice results will invert, and that's how they will line up for tomorrow for qualification day. And it's definitely going to be critical, because if you're one of the fastest 9, you're good to go. If you're one of the middle, however many it is, let me see, middle 17, if you're one of the middle 17 guys, you're good. But if you're one of the 9 slowest guys, you got to worry, because on Sunday, those slowest 9 guys are going to qualify again. And the 2 slowest of those 9 guys on Sunday will fail to qualify for the Indianapolis 250. So everyone's still going to be here after tomorrow. But once we get to Sunday, that's when we're going to send 2 drivers home. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see who it's going to be. It can be anybody, and you definitely got to watch out for it. But tomorrow's going to be a big day. First time we're ever going to be doing single car qualifications for the Indianapolis 250 or any race on NAPFan for that matter. And I'm looking forward to see how it all goes down, because we've got little nice graphics for it and everything. You know, we're going to really pay attention to it and have fun with it. I hope you guys tune in tomorrow for that. Noon Eastern Time tomorrow right here on NAPAFan. All 35 guys, they'll take 2 laps around the racetrack, and the fastest time that they get will be their qualifying time. A little bit different than what they do in real life. I know they average the times out. Just be a little bit too complicated to do that, but they will all get 2 laps, and the fastest time that they get in those 2 laps will be the time that they post. And the fastest 9 will go again on Sunday, qualify again, do the same thing again on Sunday for the pole, and the slowest 9 will do the same thing on Sunday, and the 2 slowest will fail to qualify. For the next 7 guys who do advance from that slowest 9 session, they'll start in the back of the field from positions, I believe, 26 to 33. But the final 7 positions where they will qualify and start for the race from there. But either way, that is it for me. For now, in less than 2 hours, we got ourselves the Southern States 400 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series from North Wilkesboro, the throwback race from North Wilkesboro. We had a great race last night in the throwback series, and it's the throwback race in the Chick-fil-A Cup. So it's going to conclude our throwback weekend here on NAPAFan at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. So see you down there. Going to be a fun one there for the Southern States 400. Going to be fun to see who gets the race victory in that short track. Going to be a great one. So thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Jose Mills for being the fastest guy. And these practice results will be inverted, and that is the order they will qualify tomorrow for single car qualifications. But we'll discuss it more tomorrow. We'll have a lot of time to discuss it tomorrow, because it's going to take a while to get through every car for them to each do 2 laps here. As a matter of fact, it's going to be 70 laps of qualifying total. So it's going to take a while tomorrow, but we're going to definitely enjoy it. And it's all for you guys to create a better experience for Indy 250 week here on NAPAFan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Jose Mills for being the fastest once again. I'll see you guys later for the Southern States 400 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and tomorrow for Indy 250 qualification day number 1 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I will see you guys later.